First, I got something cool in the mail. What I got in the mail is an engine cradle for an LS. You find them for a small block Chevy for 50 bucks all day, and for some reason they're 100 when they're made for an LS, especially when you get the casters. I looked around online and I eventually found one for 70 bucks shipped. So let's put this together. One of the main reasons I got this is because there's actually kind of a cool design aspect of this. See this right here? These are the bolts that you use to attach the engine to the cradle. And when you're not using them, you just kind of screw them into this little cross member thing. So that's cool. Let's assemble it. All in all, pretty good so far. Took about 10 minutes to put it together. Those are the bolts I was telling you about for the engine mounts and all that. I did find, however, that this thing was not exactly all squared up. So I left those just where those bolts there, the small ones, so they'll just barely move until the engine is hanging from the hoist. Then I'm going to attach this, then tighten it up so all four wheels will be on the ground. Everything will be all squared up. So how many of you guys have an engine hoist? How many of you keep it at the front of the garage or the trailer? Yeah, man, this is not... This is why I've been holding off, man, because look at... Every time I've done a project, I've just put the parts right here, and it's way over there. Well, I better start. And now to get that engine off of this thing, onto this thing, and then onto that thing, in this area. I can't see there being a problem with that at all. Would you look at that? It's finally on the cradle. I don't know what I'm going to do with that engine stand, or this thing, or the thing I used to protect it from hitting the front of the Hummer. Just a spare bucket seat I had around. But anyway, what we're doing now, we're going to put in all the sensors, starting with this one on top here. As you can see, this is clocked. Has that little piece that goes right down over that. As you put it down in there, I went ahead and put a little lubricant on mine. You should do the same thing. It'll snap into place, and this bolt, considering it's going back in there and I'd like for it to stay there, I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of blue Loctite on it. And that's what I mean by a little bit. This little job here does not have to be very tight whatsoever. I'm going to, while I've not seen a recommendation or a spec for that, I am going to go ahead and just take it down to 18, like I did all the front and rear cover bolts. Just inside that crank right there, the reluctor wheel is where this little puppy rides against. It'll be just off the surface of it, but once again, only goes in one way. You'll feel it kind of snap like that. And we put in another bolt that was just like the one on the top. Ooh, I found a chrome bolt for the crankshaft position sensor. Don't be hating just because this is how I roll. Rockers on, push rods in. Nothing has been adjusted down yet. They're just basically sitting in there. I don't want to do that until I get a couple other external things done. So anyway, I'm going to put the water pump on now. Put this on here and just finger tight a couple bolts to make sure no funk gets in there. Well, as you can see, I've run out of daylight, and there's also a really big Hummer here. So, gonna have to wait till tomorrow to do the water pump. We've already checked and made sure that every head bolt is 75 pounds. But I'm gonna check all the smaller ones, the ones up here. I'm gonna double check that they're 25. I'm gonna check the bolts on the front and back covers and the oil pan tomorrow, but for now, I'm done. Also tomorrow, I'm going to tighten these down, rotate the engine, make sure they're on the heel of each lobe, and I'll explain that to you as I do it. So, you guys have a great night. See you tomorrow. We'll do more.